I have been in love with two stories. Shawshank Redemption, which is a movie which I'm sure a lot of you are aware of. And if some of you are not, then this is the time to exit, go past this video and watch this brilliant masterpiece. And The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, which is a classic French novel, really, really masterfully written. He's a masterful storyteller, and I'm not being sponsored by him because he's dead. So that's not even possible. So yeah, all due respect to him, because I really, really do respect him. But yeah, um, the message of hope is something that's common to both of these stories. Now, Shawshank Redemption talks about it in a way that is an extension of what the Count of Monte Cristo talks about. I initially had this idea, initially, I mean today, like 5 minutes ago, I had this idea that maybe Frank Darabont, who wrote and directed the Shawshank Redemption, stole this idea of hope from the Count of Monte Cristo, which is a grave accusation to make on the man. And his wonderful story, which I absolutely adore. But I then realized that no story is original, no idea is original, no theme is original. It's all very unoriginal. It's the way you tell it that is masterful. It's the way you evoke emotions and feelings that is very masterful and very much an art and expertise that Frank does have by telling by his story, Shawshank Redemption. And the story talks about, we'll first talk about the Count of Monte Cristo because, in my view, Frank has extended upon that message. And Count of Monte Cristo talks about it after the main character, Edmund Dante, goes on a rampage of avenging himself, of um, uh, taking revenge as a dish best served cold. Somehow that was really hard to pronounce for me. I'm having not a very good day. So he goes on this rampage of revenge, and he takes revenge from all these people who have wronged him, and suddenly he stops on the one person that he should have punished the most. That is a very, very annoying part of the book. But danglers, who started this whole idea of wronging Edmond Dante. And by the way, I should have added a disclaimer earlier. I'm going to add it in the video below, that don't watch this video if you haven't read this book. And please do read it. Don't watch it because that won't count in any way or form. That won't be acceptable. Please do read it. And I read the Wordsworth Classics version, but what's been recommended to me by Google is Robin Buss, I believe, translated a version by Penguin Classics, and that is said to be the gold standard. And I fully agree with that without having read it, because I am in full accordance with Google and its capabilities. So uh, after all this revenge takes place, um, the story ends on a note of hope. And it ends on three words which masterfully sum up our whole search for meaning, what our wisdom as human beings boils down to, what our knowledge stands for, what we yearn for every day in terms of inner peace, and the secret that philosophers knew, that people before us who were sages knew, and were therefore content with their lives. And those three words are hope and wait. And these three words tell us everything that we need to know about human beings and about how we work best. We work best by hoping and waiting. When Andy Dufresne in the movie Shawshank Redemption is explaining how he could survive 2 weeks of penalty, staying in a small dark cell with nothing to entertain himself with after he went on this excursion of playing music in the whole prison without permission. So he talks about how hope could not have been snatched from him while his freedom was snatched away from him, while his dignity or his rights were snatched away from him, but his hope could not be snatched away from him. And he talks about this, and Red, who is his best friend and companion in prison, is flaring up even as he's saying these words. And he's saying how hope is a bad thing, hope is not a good thing. Um, and Andy is quiet. Andy is quiet, and that's what we see of him, that he has, in a way, lost the argument. But later on, as Andy is writing in a letter to Red after he is free from prison on parole, that hope is a good thing. And those are the literal words I remember. I don't remember anything else from that letter or why he said hope is a good thing. But those resonated with me so much that they stuck with me, that hope is a good thing. And it builds up on that concept of why we should hope and wait, which Alexandre Dumas talks about and literally ends his novel on hope and wait. Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption says why we should hope and wait, and that is because hope is a good thing. We often fall into this trap of thinking that hope is a bad thing, that why are people telling us to hope and wait when we're doing the very best we can? We are, as human beings, up to our necks, and we are really miserable, and our situation is really bad, and the people around us are really bad. And I'm talking about the people especially because I've had a very difficult phase in my life where I was very angry and I was very miserable, and I made myself miserable, I believe, because I couldn't believe in this thing of hoping and waiting for good things to happen, and that kind of delayed the whole process of good things happening. So hoping and waiting and believing that hope is a good thing is very, very, very important. And it's very, in a way, useful tip for life that you can have. Whether you're stuck in exams, whether you're stuck in an apartment that sucks or in a city that sucks, at least you have experienced that it sucks. And you should know that good things are waiting for you, and this life will change, this time will change. And I came to terms with this idea when I heard of the book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Now, he was a Holocaust survivor. How much worse can things get? How much worse? But he used humor and lightheartedness to drive his spirit through that situation. In effect, hope. He had hope, and that hope made him into someone as strong as he was. So do hope and wait for good things to happen, because they're just around the corner. And I know how difficult that is. I will tell you my story someday of why I found it difficult. But today we'll end on this note of how whatever situation you're in, you should hang on, because even if that message sounds really frustrating, it's the best thing we can do for our fellow man and woman, to give them that message. And good luck in every struggle of life. So, bye-bye.